Hello students, myself Wasim, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC. Today CDT we will be discussing on arrays. So upon the completion of this class, you will be able to know what is what is an array, which is a derived data type, and the importance of it, and we'll see how to initialize an one-dimensional array and what is the syntax of creating an array in C language. So generally arrays are a homogeneous collection of data which is stored in a sequential order in a memory, which store with the help of an indexes. Basically, if you try to see, a variable can hold a single value at a time. For example, int a equal to 10, where it can able to store only a single value, whereas array like int a of 10 is equal to, it can able to store up to 10 values. So here we are trying to store 2, 5, 8 and 10 under a single name called as an A. So here this is treated as an array which is having a single dimension. So in detail we are going to see in our programs. So let us try to see what is the importance of arrays. So it's a collection of variable data and having a same name and same type. So in this case we are having all the data which is corresponding to an integer type. So it's a contiguous block of memory and can manipulate by individual variables, or it can also be called as a list as of one type. So here in the previous example you can see all these values are the temperature values, and I will be naming it like in C, and the type of this is int. So use for list of a similar type of items, like example scores, speeds, weights, and all these things belongs to an individual type, and avoid declaring multiple simple variables. So hence no need of creating multiple variables for storing multiple values. So hence we can use it for keeping a lot of values in a memory, for sorting of those numbers, determining the number of scores above or below the mean, and printing the values in a reverse order of reading, and so on. We can do multiple programs on these arrays. So let us see the general syntax of arrays is, first we need to create a data type followed by the variable name and the size of the array. So let us see some examples. So C of 12, like we are going to store Celsius of around 12 values, scores of around 300 users, weights of about these main number of weights, and around alphabets we can store around 26 alphabet. So and this will be the size. So declaring the array allocates the memory in a sequential order, and basically it is a static entity. If you try to observe, it is a static value here which is a constant value every time. So the same size throughout the program, which we can't change when we have fixed that values. So hence these are called as static arrays. Now defining the constant as an array size is possible, like I can take a constant value and I can define a number here, and we can able to use that in our declaration of array. We can also make use of hash define, and we can define the size, and this is going to be a fixed sized throughout the program is, and it improves the readability and versatility and maintainability of the program, such that we can't able to change in throughout the program is. So hence better we can able to create the constants either with the const or with the help of an hash define. So it's a powerful storage mechanism which is going to have an index values, and those indexes will generally start with 0 and it goes through till the size minus 1, and it stores all the data as an indexes, and we can able to access that with the help of these index values. So the ith index, so we can perform subtasks, like we can able to do this on the ith index variable, where I is a computed by program, fill elements of an array score from the user input, and so on. We can do a lot of programs like finding the highest values in an array score, finding the lowest value in the score, and so on. So accessing of the elements can be done in something like this. Is this the general syntax of accessing? Like we can provide an array name followed by a subscripts. So here the subscripts are nothing but the index values, which are start with 0, 1, 2, and so on till the size -1. If we consider an array like a Celsius, we can able to access that through 0 to 11. So here we can able to see we need to write, we can use a bracket something like this. Note two uses of brackets in declaration, specific size, and we can also use this bracket to access the subscripts. So now let us write some programs with the help of which we can understand how we can create an arrays. Let us write a simple program, array.c. So here we do have a simple program where we can able to store some of the values like this. So now, like, I'm going to make use of an array arr whose size is 10, and it's capable of storing an character type value. So I'm storing a value called as an mba, and we are trying to print these values, which is starting from the index value of 0 and it goes through till 9. Hence the reason we are giving it as an 10, which is less than 10. So the element position of percentile d is denoting by this, and so on. Okay, if you try to understand, like we have initialized three values called as an m, b, and a. So now this is the procedure to initialize the value to your arrays. For example, if I want to create an integer array, like roll numbers will be the name of my array, and it can have a size. In our class we'll have 64 members. If you want to store all the roll numbers of each student, then the size can be 64, and we can start this with roll number 1 comma 2 3 and 4 5 and so on till 64 numbers. So this is a general way I can able to initialize my arrays. So here we do two things. One is declaration of an array, as well initialization of array. So this will be the size of array, which we have talked, like we have to create it either with hash define or with an const called as in size, const int size is equal to 64, and we can replace this with the help of the variable name size, and this is going to make an array. So let us try to execute this program, because we have initialized only three values called as an mbi, and we are trying to access beyond the elements. That is, this will be the index position 0, 1, and 2, but we are trying to print more than those three initialized value. So let us try to see what will going to print for us. So there is an issue, like let us try to see int roll number of size access elements in array initialization. Let me check with the program. Let us try to give less than 5 as a fixed value. Now let me try to compile. I'll come back to this, like what is the error over there is. Those are actually the warnings. I'll get back to you on those warnings actually. So now elements at position 0 is 77, 66 and 65. Those are the values we are going to print in percentile D. Hence the reason is giving the ASCII value of M, B and A. Now let us try to print it as an string, that is a new format specifier which is called as an percentile S. Let us try to understand this, that we are trying to print it as percentile S. Okay, so now here if I try to give it as percentile C, then it will try to print us the character apart from the ASCII value. So now let us try to run the program again. So hence if you try to understand, like this is M, B and A, all other have been initialized to 0, hence it's giving a space over here for all the other entries of the index values, because the maximum size we have declared as 10. So hence the index values are starting with position 0, 1, 2 until 9. And this is a format string percentile S for printing a character array. So a character array is generally referred to as a string, and to print that string we can use percentile S. Now let us try to print the values of our defined integer array called as roll number. So there is a good relationship between an array and an for loop. Let us try to take a loop control variable called as an I, and we'll start this I with the index value 0, and we'll float till less than 10 or less than 5, because I have created the maximum size would be 5 over here. So I less than 5, I plus plus. Let me print the value of or your roll number. Your roll number is percentile D backslash of n, comma. Now I can able to access this array called as roll number with the index value of I. So every time the loop iterates, then the value of I will be getting from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Once it reaches to 5, the loops terminate and it comes out of this for loop. So let us try to execute the program. So after modification you need to recompile it. Previous declaration of I is there, so now let us try to remove this. Already we have an I here, so hence no need of an I variable. Let us do it. Let me clear the screen and recompile the program, and let us run the program ./a.out. Now you can try to understand here, like the first one while loop is trying to print a character array, and the second loop, that is a for loop, is trying to print the values of the integer array which are from 1 to 5. So it all depends on a user, on the programmer, to check with the boundary conditions that till where I need to stop this. If I go beyond of the boundaries, then it access the elements from the memory which is not been initialized with your array. So this we'll see in our upcoming classes, that how to avoid all these things, how to check the boundary conditions and so on. So we will see in the next class that how well we can use these arrays for different aspects of our programming with lot of different programs. Thank you.